Hello everyone, my name is Mark Millay, and today I'm giving you an update on my final recommendation report. My project is focusing on fixing the pre-major bottleneck within our civil engineering department here at UK. If you've ever felt like your degree plan was a giant puzzle with missing pieces, this is for you. I'm looking at how we can move from our old, confusing system to something much more visual and interactive. Since this is a progress report, I'll be telling you what I've finished, what I'm still working on, and how I've adapted my research into the presentation you see today. My goal is to make sure that by the time I'm done, you'll see exactly how a better interface can save us all a lot of time and stress. So, why does this report matter? Right now, the path to getting engineering standing is pretty stressful and honestly a bit outdated. My report argues that we need a better way for students to plan their classes that actually matches how we live our lives. The current static audit we use in my UK doesn't really help when you're trying to balance difficult technical courses and professional co-op jobs. My goal is to recommend a tool that shows students exactly where they stand in real time. I want to help everyone avoid these oops moments where you realize too late that you missed a prerequisite. Essentially, I'm trying to make the administrative side of being a student way more user-friendly for both us and the faculty. For my final report, I'm writing specifically to the Civil Engineering Advising Department. They are the ones on the front lines who deal with advising fatigue because they spend so much of their day fixing simple scheduling errors that shouldn't happen in the first place. If we can automate the easy stuff, they can spend more time actually helping us with career advice. However, for today, my audience is you, my classmates. I want to make sure this makes sense to you because you're the ones actually living through the prerequisite chains. My report needs to convince the department that a new tool is worth the investment, but it also needs to be something that we, as students, would actually want to use every day. Let's take a closer look at the gatekeepers. To get full status in the major, you need to hit 45 core hours with at least a 2.5 GPA. You also have to keep at least a C in classes like statics. This is where things get messy. Statics is the first time you really combine high-level math with physics, and it has a notoriously high failure rate. If you don't get that C in the spring, you are barred from every 300 level course in the fall. Because many of these classes are only offered once per year, that D grade creates a prerequisite ripple effect that delays your graduation by either 1 or sometimes 2 semesters. That's not just a time delay, it's an extra year of tuition and a year of lost wages in the workforce. It's a high stakes hurdle that deserves a better tracking system. To figure out the best solution, I used a 3-pronged research strategy. First, I conducted an expert interview with the Civil and Engineering Academic Advising Department to see what problems they see most often from the administrative side. Second, I surveyed 20 of you, fellow civil engineering students, to get on-the-ground truth about what's actually confusing. I wanted to see if the student experience matched what the advisors were seeing. Finally, I did some benchmarking. I looked at other SEC schools like Texas A&M and Auburn. I wanted to see if they were using more modern tools than we are. By combining advisor expertise, student feedback, and institutional comparisons, I'm building a case that UK needs to upgrade to be a gold standard visual mapping tool. I want to spend a little more time on what I heard from you guys. I asked my fellow civil engineering students, do you actually understand what it takes to obtain engineering standing? Interestingly, almost everyone said yes, but when I asked them to list the specific core GPA and the C or better courses, nearly half got at least one detail wrong. This shows that while we think we know the rules, the system is confusing enough that we will make mistakes. I also asked a second question. How much do you rely on your own manual tracking, like a handwritten note or a personal spreadsheet, versus the official MyUK degree audit? Again, a majority of you said you don't trust the MyUK audit alone. One student said, I have to keep a separate spreadsheet on my laptop because the official system doesn't understand that I have a co-op to deal with. This confirms that we are all doing extra work just to stay on track because the official tools aren't doing a good enough job. My early findings are pretty eye-opening. Majority of the students I talked to said they weren't 100% sure on how the standing application actually works. That's a huge number for such a critical requirement. My research also shows that our current audit system is static. It tells you what you did in the past, but it doesn't help you plan a future that includes work terms. When I looked at our SEC peers, I found that schools using interactive flowcharts have fewer students showing up to advising meetings with broken schedules. At Texas A&M, for instance, their tool lets you check off a class and see exactly which future classes light up is unlocked. This kind of visual feedback loop is exactly what we're missing. If we give students a way to play with their schedule and see the results instantly, we can stop these 1 to 2 month term delays before they even start. So, what do I have left to do? I still have a good bit of writing to reach that 2,500 word goal for the final report. I'm currently expanding the discussion section to really dive deep into the cost-benefit analysis of this tool. I also need to finish my 2 original illustrations. One will be a detailed flowchart of that ripple effect we talked about, showing exactly how one class failure impacts the next 3 semesters. The other will be a comparison table showing exactly how we stack up against other SEC schools. My next big milestone is getting the full rough draft finished so I can get more feedback. The research is solid. Now I just need to make sure that the final document is professional, persuasive, and easy to navigate. I really want this report to result in a tool that helps us, so I'd love your feedback. Does the idea of a drag and drop mapping tool sound like something you'd actually use, or does it sound like another website to check? For those of you who have done a co-op, would a tool like this have made your life easier when you return to campus? Also, for those of you who aren't in civil engineering, is the ripple effect logic clear, or should I simplify the way I explain prerequisites? I want to make sure my examples are relatable to everyone in the college. Please let me know if there's anything you think I missed. And finally, here are my references. I've leaned heavily on our course textbook by Markle and Selber to guide my technical communication style, ensuring I'm being clear and persuasive. I've also pulled hard data from the UK College of Engineering's official policy pages and the Career Office to make sure my facts on GPA and co-op rotations are 100% accurate. I've also integrated the transition to engineering guidelines to ensure my recommendations align with the university standards. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm happy to take any questions you have.